It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
We're back. We're here to play the amazing Emotion Commotion game, which is so much fun and an amazing, amazing Christmas gift. And here's why. Maybe your goal for next year is to spend more time with your family and to understand each other better and to foster some really cool relationships. And it doesn't... Sorry, I'm getting attacked by a cat. Real life on the farm. Here we go. That's Emotion Commotion for you. But it's just such a great present. And once you learn how to do it from Melissa, you can do this for 15 minutes after school or as like your after dinner activity for half an hour and really start to understand emotions so that you don't have to go through life carrying them around like something that you're worried about, ashamed about, or think something's wrong with you, because emotions just are. And it's just figuring out how to understand them better in yourself and in others. Fun, huh?
Yeah, so fun. Like you're saying, like I grew up with a temper and I really judged myself. And it took me getting to the point where I had children and I wanted what was best for them. And so I started really studying a lot of books and going to therapy and healing. And I knew I had a really abusive childhood, but I just didn't connect as a teenager who was grumpy and grouchy all the time, that anger I had stored up was because of the abuse. Like I didn't put two and two together because nobody taught me how to do that. So I've loved learning a bunch of tools and want to share them with people. And this game is a really great tool for just helping you practice emotional regulation. Just practice feeling an emotion, allowing it in your body, and moving it on out so it doesn't get stuck.
So awesome.
Yes.
I am like so curious. Please don't have me sing. All right.
We'll see what the cards that I have face up to me to say about that. Maybe we'll start you on a song. Okay, how about that? Would you like to I think you would like to either, do you want a choice?
You pick.
All right, we'll start with something easy.
Okay.
You're dancing.
The Emotion by dancing.
Yes,
excellent.
man.
All right.
And then should I give you easy or a hard one?
Whatever you want to do. And if you're online and you want to guess instead of know the emotion, you need to close your eyes. And we'll tell you when to open them.
Don't
Close your eyes.
Okay. Here we go.
All right. You can open your eyes now. I'm going to dance an emotion. Dance.
Just an easy one to start you off with today.
There's so many emotions that are similar to that one. I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I get attacked again. I'm telling y'all, I'm getting attacked by everything around here. Okay. I don't know how to dance, by the way. I was wanting a happy one because I do a happy dance like all the time.
Great. Wow, that was awesome. How about I'm thinking kind of like grumpy or irritated.
Grumpy's very close.
Grumpy is close.
Very close.
All right. So I'm going to say
It's almost
like
the same word.
angry or grouchy or
There
something
you
like grouchy.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I was trying to not be angry. You know what I mean? It's really
Mhm.
difficult to be mopey. Anyway.
Yeah. What's the difference between grouchy and angry, do you think?
So angry is more, for me, is more feeling like stomping or throwing something, or like it's in my heart too. Cause I actually am like a boundary's been crossed. I love that you say that. When I'm angry, I know a boundary's been crossed.
Mm-hmm.
I used to call it an irrational emotional reaction. And I know that's like probably whatever, but if something happens and my response to it is like that, I know a boundary's been crossed. So then it's kind of like, instead of just staying in this and justifying my feelings, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let's approach this with curiosity and start to figure out where that came from. And it's
Mm-hmm.
always something that goes back to when, a while we've just carried it. Because when you're a little person and something happens and you don't like it, that fight or flight kind of kicks in. And then you tell yourself a story. But because you're little, I think emotions, this is just my theory, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, but emotions are kind of like the same size. And when you're a little person, it's like really big. And then it just, it comparative to your body size. And then you carry this thing because you've like decided and you've made up this story. And then you just keep, every time somebody else does it, it justifies your story. And you're like, see, I told you, blah, 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 don't do that. Or if you do this thing, this other thing is going to happen that's really bad. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you like blow up over something silly. I do it and then I'm like, where'd that come from? That's so weird.
Yeah. Like when we're talking about anger, I got hit and other things a lot when I was younger and couldn't defend myself. So when I would be either playing around with my kids or they'd just be sitting next to me or something and they'd accidentally elbow me, they could be like 2 or 4 years old. At the second that they elbow me, I'm just like, I want to kill something, because now that I'm older, I can protect myself, right? But I don't want to hurt my kids. I could always stop that, but my first reaction would just be like over the top fear and anger, which was crazy, but it had built up over all of this time. And when I get hurt out of the blue, that's like my reaction. I don't have that so much anymore because I worked on it, but it would be nuts. I just be like, where did that come from?
Mine
So
is the schedule. If somebody comes in and they assume that they can just take over my time, do you know what I mean?
mhm.
And they don't mean it. They're not going, I'm just going to go in and mess up her time, because it's like my grandparents, they love me to death and I love them to death. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
they'll just be asking me to do something because they love me and I'm the first person they come to, and I'm like, how dare you? I'm so busy. I'm like, where did that come from? Like, what is your problem? And then I realized it's all related to the same oldest child had to be the one who did everything. And so I run a really tight schedule. I stick too much in. I assume I have to do everything. And then one little tiny thing, even from someone I love that it's really small, all of a sudden it was the straw. And I just like flip and lose it. And I'm like really mad. And I have to, now I know what it is. So I go for a walk with Father God or take 15 minutes away. And I'm just like, what has me so aggravated? And I write it down, and then he helps me. Like it says that the Holy Spirit speaks groanings too deep for us to understand. So he could actually, we sometimes just, you feel like you've just got all these emotions going on and all this stuff. And sometimes, trying to surrender is hard and you can't figure it out. And you feel like these conflicting voices in your head, and just taking that to God and being like, well, I feel like I'm way off. I just need your help because I got nothing. It helps so much.
Yeah. And I love when you're talking about, you just know now to like talk to God or to take a walk. Those are ways of getting that feeling, which emotions are just feelings in our bodies, that feeling out. So then you can, like you said, go and look at it, figure out what's going on, what the message is from that emotion. A lot of times, like I've spent a lot of my life in my head, just logicking things out. And so even when I was a teenager and I'd have a fight with a friend, I would sit them down and I'd be like, you felt like this, I felt like this is what we can do. And we just, they would be like, oh, I guess I can't be mad at you anymore. And I thought, hey, that's so cool. I can, logic my way out of, not out of things, but, figure it out. But I would skip over that part where I allowed myself to feel it. So sometimes it's still getting stuck because I'm not validating myself. I'm not just accepting I felt an emotion. I'm quickly turning from, oh, don't want to feel that emotion, or I don't like that emotion, so it's not cool that I'm an angry person, right now. So I would think it through, but not just honor that I had this feeling in the body and it's just a feeling, and let's move it on out physically. And so I just have stored up emotions in my body over time. It's not good for you.
It's not. It'll make you sick.
Yes.
I've had a torn up stomach my whole life because that's where all my stress went.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now I can feel it, when it starts to get all like that feeling deep down in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, oh Lord, okay, what is that? Help me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's what emotions are for. They're messages, and they help us move forward. Like if we didn't feel emotions, then we probably wouldn't strive to get better, avoid things that are painful.
Yeah.
We'd just be hanging out, doing whatever.
And they're fruits of the spirit too. Like they're gifts. Love and joy and peace are not things that we naturally, like, because we're kind of selfish and we want what we want, and it's just easier to, go to a negative space. But by being with Father God, he can give us joy in any situation, which is just crazy. That's the one I've been working on lately. When my schedule gets interrupted, to be more like Jesus when I get a detour and distraction, as opposed to being like,
You're such a mad person.
how dare you interrupt my very important stuff I was down here doing. I have no idea what it was. Out of my barn.
Way.
Are you gonna play one?
Yes. So I'll let you choose. I have my categories in front of me. Do you want me to do a saying or sing or action or sound, whatever? We'll let you choose.
You sing, because I can't sing.
Okay. I'm a little teapot.
Oh dear Gussie. Okay.
And the emotion. One time my son sang this for me and I'm just watching him and he'd be like, I'm a little teapot. And he would sing it all wrong. And finally I was like, oh, are you confused? He was so cute. He was 20. He was awesome. Okay. All right. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle. Here's my spout. I'm not doing confused, but I'm kind of confused. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over and pour me out.
You seem really joyful, happy, excited. That's what it seems like.
Yes, pretty close.
Not yet. Not the right one though.
Nope.
Happy, excited, joyful.
So I was being a little goofy too. But goofy. So mix goofy up with like happy, like just don't make me do it again.
Goofy and happy. See, I'm bad. I realized I don't know that many emotional words. I'm like,
emotions are like combinations of thoughts and words and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's it start? Goofy and happy.
Starts with a P. Starts with a P.
Passionate, but that's not goofy.
I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle. Here is my spout.
I'm terrible at this game. You're gonna have to tell me. Sorry.
It's playful.
Playful.
Yay.
Okay. That makes sense.
So there's a TED Talk that says that there's 34,000 words for emotions. So it's not unusual for us not to have the right emotion on the tip of our head, but there's a lot of synonyms for like emotion. So I love that this game helps us expand that emotional vocabulary, which we really need. All right. You get to make the sound of a pig.
Okay. At least I know what that is.
I know. And it's this emotion. Whatever that is.
Hmm. Hmm. There's so many that you're like, okay, but that's going to look like this, and that's going to look like that, and that's going to look like this.
Just be the pig.
Oink, 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 oink.
I need to see that again, I'm pretty sure.
Oink, 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 oink.
Oh my goodness.
Hard to do without facial expressions.
Oh, wow. I want to say a little bit bossy, but I know that word's not in here.
That's interesting.
Or maybe impatient, or maybe
Huh.
talkative. I don't know.
Talkative is closer.
That's not an emotion though.
Or like the goofy one.
Let's see.
But not goofy. See, I wasn't oinking like normal. I was kind of like spastic.
Sounded like normal.
I was like a weird oinker.
So was it like silly? Or
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
And that's really hard because I was like, well, am I peppy, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to get that, like with yours, playful. It's hard to get that goofy piece in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
All right. I'm going to show an emotion just by using my mouth.
Oh, okay.
So let's see what emotion that ends up being. This might be trickier. Okay. So it's kind of hard to keep the rest of my face out of it, but I'll try. We'll see. Okay. Paying attention. That was it.
Pout,
Mm-mm.
tired, exhausted.
Kind of close.
Tired. That's not an emotion.
Yeah, but you're in the ballpark.
Bored. Exasperated.
No, but
Annoyed.
it starts with an R.
An R emotion?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I need an emotional vocabulary. I am bad at this game.
Well, and if I'm just doing it with my mouth, so I'll try to do it with my whole face, okay?
Okay.
So.
R. You look exasperated to me, but I'm trying to think of an R word that means that. Bored.
No, I mean, you were kind of in the ballpark with tired and exhausted.
Oh, okay.
So if I were to do it with more of my body, I would be like,
It's like worn out, but I don't know an R word.
I have to tell you a story about this word. It is relieved.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
So it's one of the harder words. One time I was in my class full of like 3rd to 8th graders, and I had to use just my legs for that word. So guess what I did? The word relieved. I had my little legs like crossing, and then I was like,
Oh, that's good. Did they get it?
so it's yeah, it's
That's a
interesting.
hard word.
And the words are different depending on what you're doing. It might be easier to show that while you're dancing, but less easy to show just with your mouth. But I kind of separated the different body parts out just so we could pay attention to how do I show emotions. Like we just do it naturally and instinctively, but it helps us to just think about how we do it and if we're coming across clearly. So there are some words that it's really hard to get from other people, maybe because they don't show it the same way that we do, or they don't show it with the same intensity. So my anger may look more like out there and explosive possibly, and there are some people's anger who would be like, can you pass me the bacon? You know, and you're like, what? You know, and there's no right or wrong. It's what we've learned, and it's great to tune in to others and figure out like how they express their emotions so we can understand them better. And if we're not clear, we can always ask them questions.
Yeah, it was neat that I was seeing exasperated from relieved, because they really are, the meaning to another person is completely different. Relieved is kind of like a positive, like, okay, you got good news, or this thing that you were worried about is gone. Whereas exasperated can be like, I'm getting on your nerves, I'm frustrating you, you're sick of what you're doing, you know. So it's really interesting. It's really helpful because we have thousands and thousands of micro expressions, and our face just makes it without us realizing it, and then other people are reading that from us, and it's just to be more in tune to it.
And there are people like me that show a myriad of expressions all the time. Sometimes I just want to shut my face down for business because, you know, for instance, I'm a person that just thinks so fast and has too many windows open, right? And so if I get the news that something is changing, it could be in the schedule, it could be, usually it's probably more schedule wise. I don't know what else it could be, but if something's changing, then my mind is going, okay, then that affects that, that affects that, that affects that. And I'm busy thinking. And so I might be like, oh, now I have to change this, but that's okay because that might even be better, you know? So all of these like emotions are coming across and people are like, are you mad? And I'm like, no, I'm just adjusting like how I like all of the windows and how that affects everything. And by the time I'm done with that, which doesn't take too long, people have seen like 5 emotions on me and they're like, you're mad. No, really, I'm not. I just needed to like go change direction, you know. And then there are other people.
People will be like, why'd you get so upset? And I'm like, no, my brain just works like a stick car. You know, because half of me is analytical and half of me is super people person. I'm half a sapphire and half an emerald, and they like don't get along usually because sapphires are people, and we like to be out and having fun, color. Right? Greens are like, let's just get this stuff done. You're really slow, like you're never gonna get finished. But green does not like to be interrupted. So I have to do my green time usually at night when I know no one's going to be around, because green works like a stick car. Like I got to open all the spreadsheets, and then I'm like, okay, it's all right. And then green's like in it. And if green gets interrupted, that look will be like, what? I'm in front of a car moving 80 miles an hour in the far lane of the freeway, because you could get run over.
Yes, I might have some of that in
stop. Me. What was that?
I said I might have some of that in me.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I go into green time, it's like everybody just needs to move on over. Don't come in here. It's so funny.
That's
For anybody who's watching, I just check out this game and really think about maybe how you could do things differently in 2022 to spend more time with your family. 15 minutes a day is 90 hours in a year. It's almost 2 hours in a week and 8 hours in a month and 90 hours in a year. Just think about how your relationships will be different with your family if you spent an extra 15 or 30 minutes a day just getting to know each other and talked openly about emotions. How much better would your kids do in school and be able to handle life if they didn't go around carrying anger, frustration, feeling like they were weird, like Melissa and I've done most of our lives. I didn't start becoming emotionally adept until I was 45. I'm almost fifth level now. When did you start waking up to emotions?
When I was a young mom, I think, as far as like really looking for solutions, and I've been studying it ever since. I've had a lot of people that are important to me in some pretty serious addictions. And so from my desire to want to support and help them, I've studied a lot about it. And it really comes down to us feeling emotions that we are uncomfortable with. So we turn to something else, and it develops a habit, which develops an addiction if we don't learn how to manage our emotions. So I really am focused on preventing the addictions and the suicide, the depression, the anxiety that's going around, because I've lived through some pretty painful experiences. My father was an alcoholic as well as addicted to other things that just ruined our relationship, and just made it a rough start, in my life. But there's just a lot of people that don't know what to do with their emotions because they were never taught and their parents were never taught. And I want to change that. Yeah. I want to open up the discussion. I want to help us to just get used to showing our emotions and allowing them and not judging them, because then we don't judge others in their emotions. And if we can find tools that help us get those emotions out in healthy, positive ways, we're going to be so much healthier.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it was like we're all taught to stay inside the lines, stay on the rails, be like everybody else, don't act out, don't, and so it causes us to kind of shove emotions down, deep down, put that down. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to hear about it. But if you go ahead and just be like, it's just how I feel, it's the way it is, and make it okay, then you can let all that out and not carry it around like a big bag of rocks you're dragging around through your whole life.
Seriously.
Oh, this is so fun. Well, I've put the link for the game. It's emotioncommociongame.com. And I'm friends with Melissa. If you'd like to reach out, know her better, just you can put a comment down below or start a chat with her and add her as a friend on Facebook. She's an amazing lady. And I just love how you're so clear and open and I don't know, straightforward about emotions, and it just makes it really simple for people to kind of grasp and understand, because when we don't, it comes out in weird ways.
It does, ways that hurt us or hurt other people.
Yeah,
we want that connection.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate your time today, and we're going to be doing several of these just because I think they're really fun. So catch it, share it.
And thank you so much for having me on. Like, I always love my time with you.
It's so much fun. I always learn. All right, everybody, have a blessed day.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.